What's up? John Sonmez from simpleprogrammer.com. So I've got Eric Smith here today, and we're going to be talking about his story and stuff. If you may have recalled, like I was thinking about this a long time ago, like 10, 11 years ago, I guess it's been. I used one of Eric's tools. I used it for a while called CodeSmith. And so it's kind of cool to talk to Eric. I thought that it'd be interesting. Eric's got a new a new tool, a new software out here called Exceptionalist, and I thought it'd be kind of interesting to talk to Eric and hear his story, just about he's a good example of a software developer who became an entrepreneur, and he's got a lot of interesting things. I think that a lot of interesting events and a pretty long story. So I thought it'd be kind of cool to have him here. So, thanks for being on the Simple Programmer podcast, Eric.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
So maybe tell a little bit about your background, like who are you, and what do you do?
Yeah, like I said, my name's Eric Smith. I grew up in upstate New York. Worked for a lot of consulting companies, and did a lot of various projects. And the last consulting company that I worked for was a company called Red River Software, and at that company, I started building a template-based code generator that I called CodeSmith. And I worked at that, at the company on their hours, and we used it to help build all the consulting projects that we were doing, and it really helped that. And at some point, I decided to leave there, and they wanted to continue using the project or the product. It wasn't really a product at that point; it was just a tool that we were using. They wanted to continue using it, and they wanted improvements to it. So I basically negotiated with them to say, hey, it'd be cool if you want to hand this over to me. I'd love to keep working on it, and they decided to. We got lawyers involved. We decided to hand over the IP to me, and then I continued working on it, and eventually released it as a freeware app to start with. And then so many people were interested in it. I think it was just the right time. Like .NET was just literally just getting started, and there were so many pains. Even at that time, there was no generics or anything. There were so many pain points that could be addressed by a code generation tool. And so I guess it just really struck a nerve with everybody in the community, and it really took off. And at some point, we decided to start charging for it so we could actually take it seriously and do it full time. And at that point, I was talking to a bunch of different people, and I ended up talking to Rob Howard, who is founder of Telligent, and we ended up partnering up and starting a business. And 10 years later, it's done really well. So it's been really exciting.
Yeah. Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember back in the day, using being a big fan of CodeSmith, and just stored procedures and doing all the data, building all that stuff that you'd have to repeat the code, and like just going in. I was awesome because I would go in and I'd show people CodeSmith, and I'd be like, look at this. Now we don't have to write all this boilerplate code over and over again.
Yeah.
And people thought I was awesome because I was using the tools. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think the best story that I heard like that was there was some guy who was doing independent contracting, and he was telling me about how he was just generating all this code, and he had to build all these templates, and just starting with a client, and then a couple weeks later coming with like an application that was like working, and they're like, how did you do that? And he's just telling me like, you've made so much money for me, and so it was a really cool story.
Yeah, it's awesome too. Just to like to I always tell developers that are wanting to be entrepreneurs about how like when you create value for someone else, that's how you make money. It's like it's obvious. The coaching is like the leverage. Like if you're making more developers more valuable, then you're gonna be able to make money off of that.
Yeah.
So cool. So So what? So in building the company, what was perhaps the greatest challenge that you faced, or was there a point where you weren't sure about this, where you had to like take a risk, and you didn't know if this was going to be successful?
I mean, like the great thing about being a developer is that you can
Mm,
literally just invest your time, right? And
yeah,
like for me, I'm super passionate about software development. I just love, working on things in general. So it's what I do in my free time anyways. So like it wasn't really like I wouldn't say there was a huge risk for me. By the
right,
time, I guess I got lucky, but because by the time, that I actually decided to go full time, it was already making more than, money than I was, making at my other job. So there wasn't a lot of risk. I would say there was a lot of, uncertainty because I really had no idea what I was doing as far as running a business. But, luckily I was able to partner with Rob Howard and he helped me a lot with that stuff. And, I think, there's a lot of lessons along the way and you just kind of, you know, take them as they come and you figure it out. There's no, I don't think there's any right and wrong way to do anything. It's just try to solve a problem and try to help people, basically.
right. Okay, cool. Now, what are you up to now? What are you working on? Is CodeSmith? Are you still selling CodeSmith? Are you, what is Eric doing these days?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're still selling CodeSmith generator, still doing really well. And
Yep.
now we started working on, well, originally we started working on a product called CodeSmith Insight. And
Okay.
that was really kind of, a help desk primarily, but it had error reporting and like in-app feedback. Like, so you would integrate with your application. We obviously integrated with CodeSmith Generator, and then you could send feedback inside of the application to the people that are building the product, but also, it report all the errors that are happening. And so we built that, and what we basically found out is that there's a lot of help desk products out there, and it's hard to get any traction in that market. But there wasn't a lot of, especially in the .NET world, there wasn't a lot of error reporting solutions. And so we decided, to kind of take the good pieces of CodeSmith Insight and pull that out and make a product called Exceptionalist. And we decided, there's a lot of trend right now for open source, and we decided that we're just gonna, like make this completely free. Like it's
Right.
literally the entire thing is under Apache license. Anybody can take it and do whatever they want to with it. We spent a lot of time and energy trying to focus on making it really easy for you to use it yourself. So if you don't want to use our hosting service, then you're free to just take it and host it internally. And like I said, we've made it really easy to do. But we just decided to take that approach as it's kind of a marketing approach, but really, as just help developers. There's other open source tools for other languages that are similar, and I just I really more than anything thought it would be fun to do that, and that's what we're doing. And
Okay.
it really has been fun. It's I think it's a really awesome project, and getting really starting to get some traction with it, and it's fun to have a good sized open source project.
Okay. Okay. And so, I'm guessing now this was what made you think or to get into something new? Like, what motivated you to to start this? Because I mean, CodeSmith is, you've been doing CodeSmith for
Mm-hmm.
a long time, but you know, just trying to figure out the psychology of like
Yeah.
what motivated you to take on this new task, and probably you didn't need to.
I would say that probably the biggest motivator was, filling a need. We needed
Yeah.
something ourselves. We felt like there was a lot of errors that were happening in our product, and we didn't know about them. You're at the mercy of users to report the issues that they're having with your application, and most users aren't going to do that. They just get
Yeah.
frustrated and say, well, this product sucks, and so there was a need there. Also, I would say, just wanting to do something different and diversify, have another product, in the company.
Okay. Okay. Now, I guess there's a lot of developers like, my business is based around more of building an audience and selling like a, information product and helping people,
Hmm.
not specifically around software. So I don't have as much experience, selling in a software business, but I think there's a lot of developers out there in the simple programmer audience that really want to create, like you've created, like a software business where where they have a product that they've built that is a software product and they're selling that. What advice would you give to them, like starting out? You know, what can someone? How could someone do this? And and what, I don't know, just
Yeah,
whatever you think that would benefit them.
yeah. I really think that if you see a need, like as you're in, most importantly, it should be something that you need yourself, right? So that you understand the problem. But if
Right.
you see a need anywhere, not just software tools, but anywhere in your world, and you understand that problem well enough to create a solution and and take a pain away, then really it takes your time, So like you, you can start a business by just investing time and creating a solution to some pain point that you have in your life, And I think everybody has various pain points of whatever they're doing in their lives, there could be some software tool that would help make their lives a lot easier, And it's not, I think a lot of people think it's maybe like a daunting task to start a company, but really it's just kind of one step at a time, fill a need for yourself, and just take it from there. Take it one step at a time. Try to get other people to use it, and if honestly, like if I can do it, because I have zero. Even after 10 years, I would say my business and my marketing and sales skills are really minimal, right? And so if I can do it, I think anybody can do it. I'm super, introverted. This is like, I think that's probably another problem that a lot of people think, I can't start a business because I'm introverted, and I can't talk to people and stuff. Well, first of all, we have the internet, so you can market in
Right.
different ways. You don't have to get out in front of people and talk to them. And then also you can maybe find the right partner, that completes the other side of the equation for you. But yeah, like I said, I think if I can do it, anybody can do it.
That's awesome. All right. All right. Yeah. Yeah. I think, and what I thought was interesting too about your story that you're telling me is the fact that you didn't just like quit your job and just say I'm going to build a software business, right? Like if I understand correctly, you were doing this at your job, and then on the side,
Yeah.
and then like when you quit your first job, or when you left your first job where you'd first start building CodeSmith, did
Mhm.
you then take another job and then do this like on the nights and weekends, or did you take some time off? How did that part work?
Yeah. So when I quit that job, and like I said, they still wanted to use it, so I negotiated and got lawyers involved and got the rights signed over. But at that point, it was still just a project that I was working on in my free time for fun, basically.
Yeah.
And helping adding features for them at that point. And I started working at Match.com, and I was working on this on the side. And I kept working on the side. I met Jason Alexander, who was at Telgen as well through Match.com. He worked there, and I think he's the one that introduced me to Rob Howard. And I guess just kind of taking steps, along the way, and eventually, decided, okay, well, I'm going to release this as freeware and see what people think about it. And then people got really interested in it. And oh, actually, I actually took donations to pay for the lawyer because so many people were
Okay.
interested in it. I
Yeah.
took donations to pay for a lawyer to get all the rights signed over. So it was pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, I was working at Match.com and doing it on the side, and then eventually, I started charging for a pro version of it, and it got to the point where it was covering my salary. So I'm like, you know, pretty much an idiot to not start a business at this point, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So many people, I think that, and that's the approach. It's almost like the natural approach. Like it's not that it didn't require effort. I mean, obviously you're working on nights and weekends, but
Mm-hmm.
so many people try and quit their job and start a business, and it's just there's so much pressure, and you don't, it's I don't think that I think the way most of the people that I hear that are successful like you, I hear that they did it on the side and then it became the full-time thing, rather than very few people I know of just said, I'm going to build a software business, and quit their job
Mm-hmm.
and had 6 months of savings and did that.
Yeah, I mean that's tough. That's really, yeah, like I said, that's a lot of pressure, and do or die, and if not, you're out a bunch of money. Where like that, that is literally to me the greatest thing about software development is that we can create a company from just time. Like everybody else in the world
Right.
has to invest money, right, to create a business,
Yeah.
and we just have to invest time. That's awesome.
So here's a because one of the resistances I get a lot is I don't have time. What do you say to someone who says that oh, I've got a wife, I've got kids, I don't have time?
Yeah, I think either you're passionate about what you do or you're not. And I think if you're not passionate about it, you're probably not going to start a business. If you're passionate about software development, you're doing it on your own time.
Right.
And if you want to start a business bad enough, I guess you're going to find time. But for me personally, it's just because it's what I love to do. So I'm going to do it in my free time as well. And I have wife and 2 kids, but I seem to find time to do all those things. So I guess it's just, it feels like it's an excuse. So you just have to do it. You just have to, and literally it doesn't have to be one big overwhelming thing. You just start small, build something. You
Right.
do this every day on your day job. Why can't you build something on the side as well? To me, it's fun, I guess.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I think if you look, where your priorities are, right? It's like
Yeah.
everyone's got the same amount of time in the day, but
Yeah.
and so and I'm assuming now, I mean, you probably have a lot more time. I'm assuming that when you were first building the business, it took a lot of your time, and you probably have a lot more flexible time now. Or am I right in saying that?
I have a lot of stuff going on. I'm also doing some contracting work as well. So
Oh, okay.
so I have a lot of stuff going on. I wouldn't say I have more time now.
Oh, okay. But less time. That, I mean, once you get it going, right? Is it, or do you still spend just as much time in the actual?
Yeah, I think there's a never-ending list of things that need to be improved, things to do, and hopefully you're getting feedback from actual users, and driving what you work on based on what people want, so you can help continually build your your audience.
Okay. I kind of want to change gears here a little bit, because you've got another interesting story. We talked about a little bit before on my other podcast on Get Up and Code, but just for everyone who doesn't who hasn't listened to that, I think it'd be kind of cool to, if you're willing to share your weight loss story as well, because it's been pretty awesome to see you do that, and I think that's something that's really inspiring to a lot of people out there as well.
Yeah, I think last time we talked, I guess the full story is at one point I was a little over 300 pounds. I'm a programmer. I honestly didn't really go outside much. I was, indoors, air conditioning, right?
Yeah.
And, my weight just got out of control. I got to 304 pounds, and I just decided, I need to do something about it. And I'd gone to the gym, and I lost a little bit of weight before, but I needed to find something, that was sustaining, that I like to do. And, I like playing sports, so I decided, actually my son, Cody, was the one who decided to start playing tennis, and he started taking a lesson, and I'm like, well, I'd like to, join in on the lesson with you. And then so we started taking lessons together, and I ended up really liking it. I like to play sports. I've never been athletic, but I just like to play anyways. I want to compete, I want to win, but I've never been, an athletic type. but I started playing tennis and I really, really liked it. And then I found out that, you know, you can play in tournaments with people at your level, no matter how low level you are, you know, how bad you are. You could play in a tournament with those same level people. And that was like super fun for me because just like the whole, like, you know, competing and you know, win or lose, you know, is really fun to me. And it didn't even matter, you know, so much if I lost, as long as it is, you know, as I was giving effort and trying. So that became really fun to me. And so I started playing a lot of tennis. And even then, like, you know, I figured, okay, well, I'm playing a lot of tennis now. You know, I'm exercising. I can do whatever I want to now, right? And I almost probably started eating worse than I was before, which is probably hard to believe, right?
Yeah, well, that happens. A lot of people, they increase the exercise, right? And then it just makes you so much more hungry, so you end up eating more. Yeah.
So I started eating even worse, and I was probably losing maybe a little bit of weight, but mostly staying the same. It just wasn't really doing a whole lot for me. And I started taking lessons from this guy, tennis lessons from this guy or his name is Alan, and he just really pushed me to you know, stop making excuses and start, you know, eating better, you know.
Yeah.
At first I was like, whatever, you know, like this skinny guy telling the fat guy to eat better, so easy, right? You know. And you know, he just kept hammering on me, saying if you want to get better, you got to lose weight, you know. And finally I decided to take it serious, and I started eating better, and you know, I lost a little over 100 pounds. I was up to about 100 and close to 120, but now it's right around 100. And so I seem to be maintaining. Hopefully that's the way I can stay at for the rest of my life. But it's been really awesome. It's a lot of fun, and you know, I guess to me, I guess that's the key, is to try to find something that's fun. You know.
Yeah.
So I guess that's my story.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, that's it's you know, kind of the cool, like the overarching theme that I see between your kind of two stories from the business and from the weight loss is that you've found a way to make these things fun and natural, as opposed to you know, some people try so hard. And to me, I don't want to say that it's effortless, but you almost make it appear effortless because you're just, it almost seems natural, like the way that you were describing it.
Yeah, it's definitely not effortless, you know, and it's hard. It's extremely hard to get started with the eating thing. It was for me anyways. And even right now, like as I'm trying to go into kind of maintenance mode, it's been a struggle, and I've gone up, you know, a little bit and come back down, and I'm trying to find this, you know, happy medium where I can still, because when I was losing most of the weight, I was on complete lockdown. I was working from home, and I had nothing. And I brought no junk into the house, and I was just eating really, really clean. And now I'm trying to find this happy medium of where I can, like, you know, still eat things here and there that I want to, but, you know, not go crazy, right? And it's mostly just about portion control and not, you know, stuffing yourself until you're sick, which seems to be a problem for me, you know, which it doesn't make any sense. But I think that's a problem for a lot of people too, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's just trying to find some sort of you know, way to make it fun, you know, and for me it was tennis, and you know, I've always loved, you know, programming, so that's always been fun for me. But for the weight loss, I had to find something that was fun, because going to the gym was not fun, you know. Staying on the treadmill and running in place was not fun, you know.
No, yeah.
I think that's
cool.
definitely
Yeah, it's interesting too, you know, just what you said, like one of the hardest things I think is it's easier to climb up a hill or go down, but it's so hard to just be, you know, like when you're trying to achieve some goal, like it's easier to lose weight or to gain weight, but to maintain weight is the hardest thing, which is
I would agree with that. You know, it's been a struggle, and you know, I'm still trying to figure it out, but I think, you know, so far so good, hopefully.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, it's good. I mean, yeah, obviously you're keeping it off. You know, I think last time we talked was over a year ago, probably. So yeah, that's good. That's great. Awesome. Well, I guess you know what, I want to give you a chance to talk a little bit more about where people can find exceptionalists out there and use it in their projects. So is it it's exceptionalist.com? Is that?
Yeah, it's exceptionalist.com. There's also github.com/exceptionalist is where all of our projects are, our open source projects. Yeah, and you can find, like I said, pretty much everything there. We host the service at exceptionalist.com, but literally everything is in the open source project. I've seen a few other ones that are similar, but they keep like kind of key pieces back for themselves. And literally like everything is open source. You can take this and host it yourself and you know, use it completely free.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. And yeah, and then how does your paid model work if someone does want to subscribe to? Is it the hosting that that you charge for on this?
Yeah, it's just the hosting. So like, I mean, for us, you know, we have to run Elasticsearch and Redis and multiple web servers and, you know, Azure storage and, you know, so a bunch of different things that we're using there. This is we host it in Azure, obviously. And, you know, so, you know, we're paying, you know, a lot of money to host the product, and you can kind of just jump on there and point your app to it and pay like a very small fraction of that. Like we have various different plans. You know, I think the cheapest one is, I believe, $20 a month. I'm trying to remember now, but
okay.
So it's super cheap, and also we have a free plan. So like anybody, you know, that just wants to use it, you know, under our free terms, which is basically we keep the various events that you send us for 3 days, and we allow you to have 3,000 events per month. So that's the free plan, and the smallest plan I'm looking right now is $15 a month. So I mean, just like a tiny fraction of the amount of money that you'd have to pay if you wanted to host it yourself. You know, so let us do the work for you, and hopefully enough people, you know, want to do that. And you know, we already have quite a few customers and making pretty good progress with it, with revenue. And actually, we're completely like transparent in that way too. Like we use barometrics in our
cool.
our numbers are completely open to the public, so you can see, you know, how we're doing.
Oh, that's awesome. I would love to check that out. Where can I find the barometrics?
I think it's barometrics.com/exceptionalist, I believe. I'm trying to remember. Yeah. Actually, they posted on their Twitter account. So
okay. But yeah, that'd be interesting to see. I think a lot of for a lot of simple programmer audience that is looking at building a software as a service or another you know, software business, it'd be nice to see.
So yeah, so it's exceptionalist.barometrics.com.
Oh, okay. Exceptionalist. Let me look at that real quick. Exceptionalist.barometrics.com.
And it's BARE metrics.
Okay, yeah. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, that's really cool. The transparency on that, and people can go there and watch you grow.
Yeah.
And what so just you know, since we brought this up, good quick question about how are you growing? What tactic or how are you growing the business, getting more people to know about, you know, obviously we're doing this podcast. By the way, just as a disclaimer, I'm not taking any money or doing anything for I'm just I just we're just friends, and I just want to you know, I thought this would be an interesting interview, so there's no back deal here.
Right.
But how are you growing? What tactics are you using to be able to, you know, to find more audience?
So really, I mean, we're just, you know, we started a while back, you know, like I said, and we just open sourced recently, and we put it on the CodeSmith Tools website, and that's really all we're doing. We're not spending any money on marketing. You know, I'm gonna try to start talking to more people like, you know, like you, and you know, see if I can do more stuff like that. But I mean, it's just, it's hey, there's this open source project, and hopefully like people see that and find it and like it, and we're hoping that the open source part of it is kind of the marketing, and if we get enough traction going that maybe it'll go viral. But either way, it's a fun project to work on, and so that's kind of just the approach that we're taking. I think it's super useful. I don't even know if we really talked too much about what Exceptionalist is, but like but I think it's extremely useful, and it can help people building software. It's the whole idea with Exceptionalist is that you wire it up to your app really quickly, and literally like a couple minutes, you're reporting all the errors to our service, and we take all those errors and we organize them into stacks. So we figure out what is the commonality between all these, and we create nice little neat stacks of information. And then we sort them by what is affecting the most people. So now you just wire this up, and now you can have an instant view of what are the things that are having the most effect on people using my application, and how can I best use my time to make my application work better. And for commercial products, you're losing money, if errors are happening and you don't know about it, and people are losing confidence, and maybe they're trying, a couple sites I've tried to place orders, and you get an error during the order process, and that's really bad. And hopefully you know about these things when they happen so you can fix them immediately. But again, you're at the mercy of your users to take the time to email you and let you know, or whatever else to let you know that it's happening. And most people aren't going to do that. They're just going to walk away. So that's kind of what the project is all about. And I think it's very helpful. And it's not just about errors either. You can also send other information, like we send logs. So we send all of our logs to Exceptionalist. You can send like feature usages. So you can say like, basically the idea is I can get a whole picture of what's happening while these errors are happening. So like if I see an error, I can see, well, what are the log messages that happened around that error, or what features were they using around that error. So the whole thing is kind of geared around you trying to make it easy for you to figure out these problems. So like we're trying to do all of the investigative work for you, so that you can jump in there, see, okay, well, this one is affecting the most people. Let's take a look at that, and I can see all the information that was gathered as part of that, and hopefully it makes it extremely obvious, what you need to do and how you need to fix this problem.
Okay, that makes sense. So basically, anyone really could use this for. I mean, well, like I think you hit one of the points that definitely I would find a lot of value, which is I was amazed. I've got. Sometimes I'll get an email from someone for something that on my site or something, or that's broken, and I'm like, how long has this been broken?
Exactly.
And no one had contacted me. It's like hundreds of people had gone and had this bad experience, and I had no idea until one person finally emailed me. And so like that makes a lot of sense. If you could hook up your app, and then you don't have to rely on the one person that finally emails you, you can see it. Right.
Yeah, it's a huge issue, and really a lot of the other software ecosystems have already had solutions for this a while back, and .NET has maybe for a while now. I'd say the last couple of years it's kind of come around where Raygun is one of the big ones that's making a lot of noise right now. And so I mean I'd say like no matter what you do, you should use some tool like this, because it's horrible that you don't know that people are getting frustrated and walking away from your site, and losing revenue because of it.
Right. Awesome. Well, all right, Eric. Thanks for that, and I wish you the best of luck with Exceptionalist. It sounds like a great product. So definitely encourage any of you listening to or watching to check it out, give it a try. Especially the no reason to not try the hosted free version to start out and see if that works for you, and then if it's I haven't used it myself because I'm not running a software app right now, but CodeSmith has been an invaluable tool for me that helped me a lot in my career. So I'm sure that the same with Exceptionalist here. So, and I like the transparency too. That's pretty awesome. So
yeah, that's fun.
all right, Eric.
Thank you.
I'll talk. Yeah, thanks for coming on.
All right, talk to you later.